Space Dandy, episode 9 review. Let's go. So this week's episode of Space Dandy, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Honestly, how I feel about this episode is probably one of the weakest episodes that I've seen with Space Dandy so far. But I will say this though, one of the best things when it came to this episode was his animation. I believe the animation for this episode was probably the best I've seen out of the series. So it's kind of weird. It's just like I don't know. I didn't really enjoy this episode that much because it just mainly focused literally just on what's going on with the story within said episode. Really, like that's it. There was not much comedy. There was really not much to it. And the pacing was really, really slow. So it just, honestly, wasn't really grabbing you. The only thing that was really grabbing you was the animation. Because the animation, it was just visually appealing. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I was like, I don't know what they're doing right here. But this animation, not to mention the soundtrack too. The soundtrack yet again. It's just, I want to hear the OST, the full OST of Space Dandy. Because it's really, really good. But, I don't know. It's just, even with some of the pluses I just said, it's just, with the pacing and just, I don't know. The story of it wasn't bad. It's just, like I said, it just wasn't interesting. It wasn't entertaining. You know what I mean? It wasn't entertaining me. So I was just kind of about this whole episode, really. And I don't know. I'll say probably is the weakest of this series so far. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, as the show goes on, of course. But I will say this. With this week's episode, there is one moment I really, really enjoyed. It's my favorite moment of this episode, actually. I didn't really enjoy it. It was kind of sad, actually. But it's my favorite moment of the episode. Where basically when Dandy got to Code D and got to see him, like, I guess he unplugged it in a way. You know, he kind of just like broke the vines and stuff that was holding on to Code D. And once Code D fell and everything got destroyed, because Code D basically evolved that plant planet into having plants being able to think for themselves, and you know, they basically, you know, they evolved. You know, there's an evolution that just happened with that freaking Code D, and they're a higher being of intelligence and everything now. And the thing is, once that thing got destroyed, once Code D got destroyed, it de-evolutionized the plants basically, and they're all just kind of reverting back to just normal plants. And so the thing is, there's this plant that was in this episode. It's like almost like a child, kind of. She just kept following Dan the entire time, and the plant was nice. It was a nice little plant there. And the thing is, she started, you know, de-evolutionizing and everything, and that moment right there, she just kept saying Dandy, Dandy, and it's just like that part was actually sad. I was like, oh, I don't know. That was a little sad. Got me right there. But that was probably the best part of the episode, honestly, for me, because everything else is just kind of dry. But that's just how I feel for this episode here. I'm curious what you guys think of this episode. Also, I will say this too. Next week's episode looks very, very promising. It's very interesting because it's going to be following Meow, and it seems like it's going to be his family and everything like that. And there's going to be some family issues or something of that nature. So it's going to be interesting. There's going to be some development also on Meow's character. So I actually really look forward to next week's episode. So I'm looking forward to how this is going to be executed and everything like that. Also, one last thing. Space Dandy's opening. I just want to say this. I really want to say this. I really, really enjoy Space Dandy's opening. I feel like it's one of the best out of this season, actually. So, yeah, I really, really enjoy the opening. And they show the full opening again. Because I didn't actually say that in my last review, but they show the full opening again. I'm really enjoying the opening. So, I just want to throw that out there. So, yeah, leave a comment below and tell me what you think of this week's episode of Space Dandy. Like this review, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see some more Space Dandy reviews from me. So, yeah, it's been the Thabreakmaster. And until then, people, break out.